Hello, everyone. Happy Christmas. Welcome to the Rangers Reviews pre-match briefing with myself, Joshua Barrie, and Chris Jack ahead of Rangers against Motherwell as the festive football keeps coming. Chris, you are live in station at Fir Park. You have informed me that it is absolutely horrendous weather for a Christmas Eve game. How are you getting on, and what's it like down in Lanarkshire today?
It's cold, wet, windy. A day to keep the high balls low, as they say. No,
Yeah.
it's fairly inclement here at Fir Park, so it's not shaping up to be a not shape up to be a classic here this afternoon. But as we know, most important thing is 3 points for Rangers and keeping things ticking over performance, especially on a day like today. If they don't play that well, I don't think we'll be that critical over the performance. It's just all about the result for Rangers this afternoon.
Yeah, it is the actual definition, Chris, of 3 points and up the road. Let's see the team that is going to attempt to do that for Rangers. We'll, of course, have a bit of a chat through that, bit of a chat through the bench, and have a look in detail at the fixture. So Rangers go with Jack Butland in goals, a back four of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Leon Balogun, and Ridvan Yilmaz. Bit of a surprise inclusion in there, but no Borna Barisic on the bench. Chris probably suggests that is another injury or knock-related issue, and you just hope that is a short term issue, although that's not always been the case for Rangers this season. An unconventional midfield too, shall we say, of Kieran Dowell and Dujon Sterling. Now, I think both of those players have done well. Being thrown in the last few weeks is a different challenge without John Lundstrom in there. You really don't have a kind of out and out holding midfielder in there. I think Sterling will play the higher role. Dowell will be the one who tries to get things ticking and get on the ball. Big test for them both. Bailey Rice is on the bench, which is good to see because he's a good young player, but also gives you a natural midfield option if required at some point as well. No surprises in the front four. You thought, Chris, that maybe Ross McLaughlin would be rested, but he's played by Philippe Clement. Todd Campbell, of course, comes back into that number 10 position. Abdallah Sima from the left and Cyril Dessers up top. I'll read the Rangers bench as well before we break down the team. Robbie McCrory, Suter, Lammers, Matondo, Wright, King Devine, Yefeko and Rice. Chris, no real surprises. It was clear after Clement's comments the other day that Lundstrom wasn't going to make this game. I think the only real surprise is Ridvan, and as I say, that's probably injury related. I mean, what stands out to you from that team, and what are you expecting from it? It really is Clement is playing with what he's got, isn't he?
That's it, Josh. Now he's very limited in terms of his options. There's not a lot that he can do. Saying that, it's not the worst bench that we've seen this season. It's also not the strongest either. But you do have players in there who can perhaps come in and change the game, like Scott Wright, like Matondo. Good to see Bailey Rice in the squad as well because he may well be needed over the next couple of weeks. But I think the only surprise for me, if you like, I thought McCausland might get a rest this afternoon. He's played a lot of football in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I thought this was maybe an afternoon for McCausland to get a rest. I know Derek went for Scott Wright, and he got his usual array of stick for that. I went for McDonald on that right hand side just to give Rangers like pace and on both sides as well as giving Ross a rest. But the manager clearly feels he's still in a good place, and he can still get through the minutes. Also, Ridvan in for Barisic. So there was no update on Borna yesterday, so we don't know if that's an injury issue or if he just been rested. The same with Ben Davies. So just a case of Rangers. It's not a conventional Rangers side. It's not a side that you would have picked out a few weeks ago, but it's one that has to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's speak first about the midfield, Chris. As I say, I think Dujon Sterling has done well since he's come into the midfield because Rangers haven't always, or I think at the moment under Clement, they're not really progressing the ball through the midfield too much. Quite often they're going around or they're going over. They've got Sima to hit or go down the right hand side. It's not as if Sterling's having to receive with his back to goal. He can be busy, use his physicality, he can carry the ball. But as mentioned, he's had John Lundstrom in there before. Now, I think Kieran Dowell had a good game in midweek. He could get on the ball face and play and played quite a nice few passes through the lines. And I think, if memory serves me correctly, also made the most defensive actions for his team, the most pressures. It was a good performance. He was pretty busy in all aspects. But it's a different task for them both today. Because number one, that's not a midfield partnership I ever thought I'd see in a Rangers team. That's not to discredit them because, as mentioned, they've both done well. But it probably does just highlight how well Clement has done with limited options. He's got all four of his senior central midfielders out of action today. We might see Bailey Rice at some point, but I expect Dowell to be the player who's deeper, who maybe gets the ball off the centre halves when Rangers need to play through the middle, and Sterling to be a little bit higher. Both those players will need a big performance and throughout the 90 minutes, though, won't they, Chris? And because without John Lundstram in there, without a natural kind of holding midfielder, it's a kind of a bit of an unknown in the engine room for Rangers today, isn't it?
It's also it's an unknown, as you say, Josh. But I think as important as this afternoon is in terms of getting the 3 points and getting through the game, we're going to rely on those two over the next couple of games now, because there's no sign of any of those established midfielders actually been back in time for the full firm game. So we really need Dowell and Sterling not just to play well this afternoon, to get himself into form, to start trying to form a partnership. They're going to be seen against Ross County in a couple of days, and they're going to be at Parkhead a couple of days after that. And there's every chance they're going to be seen against Kelly at Ibrox a couple of days after that as well. So it's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation to put on a midfielder in Kieran Dowell, who we've not seen a lot of. I thought he obviously came out in the summer. I thought there was flashes in the first few weeks. You could see what he was going to bring to the squad, but never really looked like being the type of guy who was going to nail down one of those starting spots. Sterling has just emerged into the midfield from nowhere, and played back up to Tav, played back up at left back for most of the season, has come in, but been really, really impressive. Just provides a lot of energy in there. So it's an unconventional partnership, but there's nothing to say that it can't work. Obviously, the manager needs it to work over these couple of games, because he's, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, he's really down to the bare bones now.
Yeah, absolutely. Ahead of them, Todd Cantwell was rested in midweek. He's the key player for me, I think, Chris, over the next number of matches. Not only because that midfield is pretty limited in its options, it's maybe not got too much creativity, but Rangers, as you say, their bench probably is stronger than it's been at parts earlier in the season, although that's a pretty low bar. You need the likes of Tavernier and Cantwell and Sima and Dessers, who will come on to have a big few games, because Rangers don't have, it's not as if they have really someone on the bench to call upon if the going gets tough. Who do they play at number 9 if Dessers gets injured? You're probably looking at maybe Sima going through the middle and Matondo coming in off the left. This is a time where Clermont will need fringe players to step up for him, which I think they have done so far. Cyril Dessers, Chris, I tweeted this out the other day when we did a piece after the game. His goal per game ratio since Clermont arrived is the best in the league, actually, which is a bit of a surprise. He's averaging over a goal. I think it's 1.02 goals per 90. 6 goals in the league, 5 of them have come under Clermont. A lot of them quite similar, on his left foot facing play. And if you think of goals, Livingston, the goal he scored at home against Dundee recently, obviously the one in midweek against, was it midweek? I don't even know. A few days ago against St Johnstone as well. I think this is the first time, Chris, where we've been able to say that supporters have started to see what he can bring consistently and what his qualities are, because for a long time it felt as though Rangers weren't playing to whatever strengths Dessers has. They were playing with almost like a back-to-goal striker, and he doesn't really have that hold-up play within his arsenal, or if he was having to run in behind over distance. Remember how many times he was caught offside, even in that reverse fixture against Motherwell, the 1-0 game way back in sometime in September. But he's reached form at just the right time, I think, Chris, hasn't he? And it's not like a few weeks ago where when Danilo was injured, you really thought, where are Rangers going to turn? Because they've not had a viable centre-forward option outside of that. But Dessers is in a good bit of form. And I don't know about you, but that stat, even though his goals have been good under Clermont, that stat kind of surprised me. I think it's 4.9 90 minutes he's played under Clermont with 5 goals. Important that he continues that over the next 3 games, because outside of Abdallah Sima, no one else is really going to score goals or has the track record of scoring goals from open play this season in that team.
No, the team overall, as you say, Josh, is short of goals. You're looking at Sima, you're looking at Tav. Apart from that, there's probably not that many in that starting 11. You're certainly in single figures if you add up the rest of it. I would think also there's guys like Cantwell who should be chipping in more, players like McCausland who have the potential to chip in, but you're really looking at your number 9 to really see you through these fixtures. There's also a lot of pressure on Dessers to remain fit as well, because there's obviously very, very few options. I know the FS guy spoke to Scott Wright about potentially playing as the number 9 the other day there. That's the kind of situation that Rangers have found themselves in. You're putting putting square pegs in round holes. But as you say, on Dessers, he has done now the last wee while. There's still edges to his game, very, very rough edges to his game. There's still concerns over his overall quality, and obviously questions over the value for money. But I think the one thing we can say about him is he's got a bit of personality about him. He doesn't seem the type of guy who has let that criticism get to. He seems a genuine, nice big guy. He seems one of the type of guys who actually want to do well. I think he gets the club, he understands the club. He's got a mixed relationship with the fans at times. Like he's been booed off, he's been heckled off, but then he scores and people are giving him a bit of praise. It's the fickle life of a Rangers player, and certainly the fickle life of a Rangers number 9. If he can score again today, get a couple in the next couple of games, including an Old Firm winning at Parkhead, now what a way that is to turn around what's been a fairly wretched start to his Rangers career. So there's a lot riding on these couple of games for Dessers. I think he's gone from one of the players that people would say, come January, just get him out the door, send him out on loan, just get rid of him, to someone who can say, well, if we can get Danilo back and we can make the right acquisitions during that window, he does have a part to play. I don't think he's going to end up getting 20 goals for the season, but if he can continue to chip in, then he's clearly going to have a big role to play.
Yeah. People in the comments are really enjoying the Motherwell, the Fir Park tunes, Chris, as I'm sure you are. Someone here saying, Chris, live with some of the Christmas bangers. It is that time of year, Chris, isn't it? We'll wrap up. We'll wrap up before we get a copyright strike or something like that. We don't know if we're going to be live after the game just because of workload on Christmas Eve. We shall see. Result dependent as well, I'm sure. Chris, your predictions and your final happy Christmas message and how you see this game going. Rangers are in good form. They're unbeaten under Clement so far, as is well documented. They're travelling here down to the bare bones, but they kind of travelled everywhere down to the bare bones in the last couple of months, haven't they? The spirit in the team seems good. They just need to continue this winning run. They've got that home game. Everything's riding, or so much is riding on that Old Firm game on the 30th. You just need to keep up the form until you get to that game, don't you? And then hope that the Rangers are able to get a result on the 30th. You imagine the bench will be important as well today to try and rest some players. Maybe can't, if Rangers can get into a good position by 70 minutes, you're looking at taking the likes of Dessers and Campbell and Seema off, as has been the case over the last couple of weeks. But just your predictions to close, Chris. How do you see this one going at Fir Park today?
Just to address a couple of comments first, Josh. I have no control over the Fir Park playlist, and I'm also not broadcasting from a Fir Park toilet. This is just the back of the press stand here at Fir Park, giving people giving people access that they didn't know they really wanted. Unfiltered is the word. In terms of the game, it just has to be, as you said at the start, Josh. It just has to be 3 points and up the road for Rangers. If they can win 1-0 and it comes off Big Dessers' backside in the last minute, then everybody will take it. It's just one of those days. Rangers just need to win today. They just need to win in midweek, and then the Parkhead game takes care of itself. So I think Rangers, as much as they are really depleted, I think we've seen a bit of spirit about them, as you say, in the last couple of weeks. They've shown that they can get results, and inversely, they've shown that they do have big results and big performances in them. You'd fancy if they don't get the job done here today, send everybody home with a bit of Christmas cheer. We can go and enjoy tonight and tomorrow and Boxing Day with the families, and then it's all focused on Ross County.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, thanks to everyone for joining us. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching. A big Merry Christmas from all of us at the Rangers Review, and hopefully 3 points to make it a happy day for you tomorrow. Until then, thanks to everyone for joining. Thanks to Chris, who's back to reconvene and reconfigure the playlist before the game starts. We'll speak to you later on. Bye for now.